Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another League of Legends streamed and shoutcasted for your viewing pleasure. We are into the official 1v1 games. This is the first of best of 3 between Blue Team versus Purple Team. We have Chicks Dig Elo versus Pond Mills. Official game going down here right now. I am your shoutcaster, Jake Helton, here for the night, and I hope you enjoy. I do this a couple of nights a week, and if you have teams like this and are interested in getting it shoutcasted officially and then put on YouTube for your viewing pleasure and all of your friends, this is where to do it at. But we got our picks and bans already coming out here. Ari banned out by Blue Team as well as LeBlanc. It looks like Blue Team is not interested in those mid laners with all that damage they saw Ari played in the practice game earlier today, and they know that the damage that she can do. Purple Team banning out Jax and Vayne, those damage dealing top lane and ADC. Vayne is a very strong champion and probably My Name is Scott's main, considering that My Name is Scott, he is the official ADC for Chicks Dig Elo. Velikos banned out by Blue Team, another mid laner. They know that somebody on Purple Team is very strong with the mid lane. However, they might give Best Void Fizz his Fizz champion, which he is extremely good with, unless they ban out or Blue Team picks, as they have first pick. Blue Team Best Void Fizz is now currently considering the champions to ban, and River SLV continues to chat me up. Okay, it looks like they did ban out Twitch as the last ADC, picking those ADCs versus My Name is Scott, who has now decided to go with that Ashe. Ashe is a very interesting champion for first pick, considering that she is a huge damage dealer. However, she doesn't have a whole lot of escape ability. However, if Akradam, who is the official support champion for Chicks Dig Elo, is going with a very strong support champion that can get Ashe out of a bad situation, it could be a very strong pick. Picking ADC shows a lot of confidence early on because it means that you feel that you can counter whatever ADC the enemy team chooses, and from the last game, considering that My Name is Scott is Diamond, will show his strength. However, Caitlyn is a very, very safe pick. She has a lot of damage with that Q starting off, as well as that 90 caliber net will be able to get her throughout a lot of situations, escape some pretty bad situations. Looks like Purple Team will be picking up Best Void Fizz, grabbing Udyr. I don't know if he'll be grabbing himself. He does have the smite and maybe going Udyr jungle, as well as Roasted picking up Lee Sin probably for the top lane there with that flash ignite, unless some trades go around. We'll see if that happens later on. Bulimic Whale and a Scaffe is currently trying to decide who to pick, as Blue Team is trying to figure out what their composition will be. A lot of these guys are currently on the Skype chat, and so they will be able to talk back and forth, which will make this game very, very interesting as it is official. Somebody is stating that Sleepy is hands down God. However, Sleepy will not be playing in this game, as he did have to go after 10 minutes. So he may be joining in the next game or not. We shall see in this best of 3. Bulimic Whale picking up Trundle for that top lane. Very strong champion throughout all, as well as taking that teleport, which will allow him to jump into fights for his team, teleport into that bottom lane with the dragon fight if the dragon is up. A Scaffe picking up a very strong mid laner, Yasuo, which will be very good against a lot of champions in the mid lane. However, there is not too many knockups, but that Trundle pick with the Yasuo combination is very strong, because Trundle can throw down his W, the Pillar of Filth, which is essentially a knockup, which will allow Yasuo to leap in and ult, as long as that knockup especially goes down onto the ADC for Purple Team, which has been picked up by Blackbeard, picking up that Graves ADC, a very strong champion in the bottom lane with a lot of burst with his Q. It's a very short distance, a lot shorter than Caitlyn. However, there is a wider range on it, and so as long as you can get it even towards the enemy ADC champion, you're going to hit it, as well as extremely strong with those wave clears. Hamzy taking up a Lysandra in the mid lane, very strong champion. It'll be interesting to see how she fares against this Yasuo, especially mid lane to late game. With that ultimate, we'll be able to lock down Yasuo and maybe able to burst him down and kill him before he's able to do too much damage, as well as a strong champion to be able to essentially negate an entire enemy champion for portion of the fight, as they are not only stunned, suppressed, but they also take a lot of damage. And they are the AoE from that ultimate will be slowing the rest of the champions around it. There's Makesaft, there we go, picking up Blitzcrank. I don't know if he'll be doing a jungle. He does have Smite on him. However, Aquadam is hovering over this Sona pick. We saw Sona in the last game, not the greatest with those ultimates, but very strong champion, especially with that very powerful Q combination. Going to be doing a lot of damage with that Caitlyn, considering the Sona does run those AP damage ability or items. Pachinator picking up one of his favorite champions with that Thresh. I've seen a lot of really good cues from it. In the practice game that happened earlier, while he was able to pick off a lot of enemy champions with those death sentence hooks, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win, because his team was not able to pull it together in the end, especially against the My Name is Scott. But now that they have some more balance to their team, instead of being a diamond versus a level 27, we are going to have a little bit more even, as there are some platinum members on purple team that should even out the skill level of these two teams, as they are playing on Team Pond Mills. So he is hovering over it. No decision officially as of yet, however, it could be doing it. Aquadam stating that he is getting better with the ultimates, being able to combine them with large numbers of the enemy team. So in the last couple of seconds, I do what I usually do. I'm going to run through every champion and who they are playing, every player and their champion. My name is Scott, picking up the ADC for Chicks Dig Elo in that bottom lane, the Bulimic Whale in the top lane with that teleport, a Scaffa in the mid lane for Chicks Dig Elo, picking up Yasua. Nakesaf taking a jungle Blitzcrank, which will be very interesting. Love watching new things. Aquadam on that Sona support in the bottom lane. Best Void Fizz, not taking Fizz this game, who was available, instead taking the Udyr jungle. Roasted in the top lane. Lee Sin, very strong champion, picked up recently in a lot of number of ranked games. Blackbeard 24 taking Graves in the bottom lane as the ADC for Pond Mills. Hamzy taking that Lissandra in the mid lane, and Pachinator on one of his favorite champions with that Thresh death sentences in the bottom lane as support for Pond Mills. And apparently I'm saying somebody wrong. Scafa. A Scafa. Or do you just want me to call him Scafa? Yeah, A Scafa. A Scafe. A Scafe. Okay. Instead of Oscafa, or whatever I'm saying, A Scafe is apparently that user's name. I apologize for getting it wrong. People say their names in a weird way, but we have 2 minutes remaining before this game gets underway, so while the players currently jump into the game, I'm going to throw out a couple of predictions here, as I usually do, and I love to be proved wrong, so please do your best to prove me wrong in the game if you are watching and playing at the same time. I will say, interesting, a lot of champion picks here. Blue team would be very interesting to see with that Blitzcrank being in the jungle. He's going to be able to pop out and throw that Q, and he is taking Flash as well, which means that Flash Q combination will be able to pull an enemy champion a pretty good distance to his team if he gets it off correctly. However, being in the jungle also gives you a little bit of that edge, as it is harder for enemies to be able to tell when and where you're going to be popping up. You can sometimes come behind their lines and pull over a wall or something and be able to get a kill, as long as the enemy doesn't have a ward down, so purple team's job will be very heavy on the warding side. However, purple team is pretty strong, especially with that Lee Sin and Lissandra, both of those champions that both do a lot of damage, as well as scale really well into late game. Udyr, of course, being a very strong champion that scales into late game doing damage, and very hard to kill with his tankiness, and then of course Graves doing an amazing job in the late game with the massive amounts of damage. So it'll be interesting to see which teams. I'm going to throw it out here to blue team. I just have a strong feeling about their team combination, as well as that Trundle Pillar of Filth with Yasuo's ultimate will do a lot of damage, as long as he can pick off a squishy target for purple team. And even if he doesn't, that is a lot of damage AoE that's going to be going down onto a lot of purple teams, or Pond Mills teams, champions with that Yasuo ultimate, as he is indestructible and untargetable during that time period. As for First Blood, because I usually throw it out there, The last like 3 times I predicted first blood, I predicted this Lee Sin, a Lee Sin in the game getting first blood, and instead he ends up getting the first blood killed. So I'm going to actually throw out a different prediction here and say that Lee Sin is going to be killed as first blood. He's going to give first blood. We'll see if that turns it around and Lee Sin actually gets first blood instead. It'll be really funny to watch this. And then of course a triple kill going out to Caitlyn, because I always throw out a triple kill for some reason. It usually goes on to like 40 kittens. Started with 40 kittens grabbing the Jinx and getting triple kills, and so we're gonna see if Caitlyn, my name is Scott, can get a triple kill in this game, which is more than likely considering he is an excellent and very strong ADC champion. So apparently I'm really terrible at typing and chatting at the same time, considering that I'm trying to type into the chat to chat with you all in the Twitch chat. However, at the same time, I'm unable to talk when doing so. So, as usual, we are just about to get into game here in the loading screen as we start. If you are in the game or watching and have any friends that you know these people, go ahead and post it onto your Facebooks, etc. As well as I do these things rather often, and it's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in that as well, go ahead and throw a follow on. I will be doing a $10 Riot Point giveaway later on this evening. You do need to be following me for that. However, you have plenty of time between now and then to actually follow me, as well as I think a number of these people are currently followers of me. So there's no need to do other than hit that follow button and then hang in there until actually they do the Riot Point giveaway, which will be at the end of the final game. If purple or if Chicks Dig Elo wins 2 games in a row, then it will be after the second game. However, if it goes into a third game, then it will be after that third game. So we'll see which team is able to maybe knock it into 2 games in a row and finish it off once and for all. Welcome to all the new people that have not watched my stream before. I do this as a lot of fun. I'm not 100% accurate on the champion abilities, so I'm still kind of making my way and learning my way there. However, I hope you enjoy the commentary during all of this. I do troll commentary where I make a lot of fun and use a lot of cuss words involved in it. And I do also put all of these videos on YouTube, so if you're interested in any of those kinds of shoutcasting and more of the fun kind of hardcore cussing type shoutcasting, let me know, and I would absolutely love to join one of your games. However, as of now, we are trying to make this as unofficially official as possible, and so we are going to be rocking 3 games straight of the best commentary that is not official freak Riot commentary that can be. As well as if you have any friends that watch League of Legends and are interested, feel free to throw it out there. But we've got some interesting skins here. Caitlyn, Officer Caitlyn, beautiful skin as always. High Noon Yasuo, and then of course the definitely not Blitzcrank who wins the skin prize, because that skin is just way too good not to be noted. Traditional Lee Sin and Hired Gun Graves, but that does mean that blue team does win the skin war, and as we all know, when you buy skins, that means that you're definitely better than the enemy team because your character looks prettier. So it is more than likely that blue team will win it in the end because of that skin war, but as always, feel free to prove me wrong, as we have a lot of different high elo champions in this game, and we are now into the official League of Legends game here. All the characters have loaded, and we see Yasuo jumping around, doing a little bit of dancing there at his base. We're going to go ahead and throw all of the champions into their correct positions so that we can see how they compare against the enemy team. Look at that. Everyone goes directly into their place, except, of course, for top lane. We got to put Blitzcrank right there next to Lee Sin. A lot of basic starting items. The Doran's Blades for a lot of purple team who have a lot of AD power on their team. They actually have almost no ability power, save for Sona and maybe Blitzcrank, depending on how he builds. Blitzcrank has taken the Hunter's Machete for the jungle, and so it'll be interesting to see where he goes or if he rushes that Feral Flare. Yeah, Chicks Dig Elo versus Pond Mills. That's the name of the game right now between these two teams. It looks like Purple Team has started out very basic as well. Sona has taken a Spell Thief's Edge, which will give her a little bit additional power when she's using those Q chords. Thresh picking up one of the Ancient Coin, which will allow him to get that gold over time as those minions die. It looks like Blue Team may be coming in here for an initial gank. Lee Sin throwing out a Q means his Q will be on a cooldown, but purple team I think does see a lot of blue team here. Looks like Lissandra will be able to see some of the blue teams. There she goes. She should be able to see a Scafe, whatever, going into that bush. So purple team knows the blue team is in there, and has backed off at least a little bit. A lot of pings going out here between both teams. Blue team deciding maybe it's best to play a little bit safe and back off from that. There's Lissandra throwing out a Q and actually missing, not even hitting Yasuo in the process. And so they're going to be able to, they're going to have to back off from that. Looks like they will be giving red buff to Blitzcrank right off of the bat. Lee Sin and Trundle making their way to top lane to go back into a basic normal starting laning phase. Could have seen some early action, but in the first game of this series, they've decided to play it a little bit safe here. Looks like both teams will be able to get their buffs about the same time here. Udyr has gotten his blue buff, and Blitzcrank taking the red buff, of course. In the mid lane, a little bit of bouncing back and forth, a little harass there from a Scuff against that Lissandra with those tornadoes. My name is Scott, doing a chunk of damage to Pachoneer, knocking him down to about half health. Pachoneer does know the danger that is in the bottom lane. An interesting thing here is that both of blue members actually put trinkets in that bush. I don't know if that was just a miscommunication, but that means that they will not have a ward other than Sona's basic ward to put down in the bushes in the river. So they should be alright, but those trinkets do go down rather shortly, and so they won't be able to save their wards as well as purple team if purple team decides to hang on to that, as they still have Graves' ward trinket up for use in that river. It does look like Caitlyn will be trying to push them, however, really hard, as Blackbeard's now down a chunk of health. He is using his potion to be able to try to heal up. And it does look like Udyr took the wrong runes, so we'll see how well he's able to deal with that in the game. Especially in this kind of a series game, you definitely want to make sure you are on the top of your game, as it is being shoutcasted live to any community that is watching. Sup, Jaco788. Blackbeard now having to back off a little bit. He is about half health down in the bottom lane, and is going to have a little bit of difficulty, especially this early. Fighting against the tower. It does look like that death sentence did go down onto Aquadam, making him really low health. He has thrown out the Q, so Pachoneer has got a lot of damage to him. My name is Scott. Now, does have the critical shot, which is going to knock Pachoneer down pretty low health. One Q could kill him. Caitlyn did flash for it. There goes the Q. Actually, Graves flashing into the Q, which did kill him. Thresh trying to throw out a Q to be, or a death sentence onto Caitlyn. Actually does land it. While the camera was away, the tower did kill Sona, who went in to try to save Caitlyn. Did an excellent job. Caitlyn actually getting a double kill on that Thresh before having to back off. However, in the top lane, Udyr did a nice job ganking onto Trundle, who does not have a whole lot of escape power, and actually helped get a kill onto him as well. Lee Sin picking up that, which will only be able to snowball him into the later portions of the game very well. Another tornado from a Scafe doing a lot of damage to Hamzy. She is using her potions to be able to try to heal up, but I don't know how long it's going to be able to last, especially against that lifesteal that Yasuo has. They are about even on the farm here, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Looks like Best Boy Fizz is now jumping in, trying to be able to stun a Scafe, but he's going to have to back off, doing a nice job of dodging Makesaf with that Q. And so he's going to be able to get out of that without any problem. But Hamzy is pretty low health in the mid lane, missing farm underneath the tower. So you're going to have to do your best to stay alive against this Yasuo, who does an excellent job of being able to get in and get out of situations, especially if he decides to dive in and then use his dash with the minions to be able to get out. A lot of lanes continuing to just go back to the farming as they try to farm their way into a better situation here. Caitlyn is a little bit above this Graves, doing an excellent job of keeping her farm up pretty high. Lee Sin did back with that for kill, which allowed him to get double long swords, so he's going to be doing a good bit of damage. And it looks like Lissandra did go ahead and back as well, picking up a cloth armor with some ability power against that mid lane, so she's going to be able to take a little bit less damage from it. Caitlyn went ahead and picked up Advanced Scepter, and so her sustain in the bottom lane is going to be doing pretty well. Lee Sin continuing to do his best to harass Bulimic Whale in that top lane, just continue to push in, using his advantage while he has it. His farm is actually not to par with Trundle. Oh my gosh, actually somehow they got mixed up there. There we go. his farm is actually underneath Trundle's farm, I think because he was losing early game. And so he's going to have to be able to catch up on top of Trundle being able to do a good bit of harass. However, in the bottom lane, it looks like Blitzcrank will be attempting to gank here. Mixaf trying to come in and make something happen. Is able to land the grab onto Pachinator, who's going to be in a lot of trouble. He uses the Flay to try to escape out of that situation. Caitlyn with the damage, though. The Q, oh my gosh, the Piltover Peacemaker doesn't land on Thresh, and Pachinator is able to escape out of that with almost no life out of that. Did an amazing job of actually dodging that Piltover Peacemaker just before it hit. Another tornado harassing Hamzy in the mid lane. Escaped, going ahead and using her ultimate onto Yasuo before Yasuo has a chance. The Ignite is down on him. That should be a kill for him. Hamzy picking up a nice kill. I think that actually they took Yasuo by surprise. He was not expecting her to go ahead and use that ultimate and Ignite combination on him, finishing him off in that mid lane, giving her a nice kill edge on the Yasuo. She is down a little bit in farm, but with that kill we'll be able to catch up, as well as hopefully be able to start winning her lane in that there. I think Thresh did not back. He actually is kind of low health, unless he backed and came back into lane with a little bit of lower health. No, he has not backed yet with that coin. I'm not exactly sure how he's able to get his health back up that fast. I mean, he just drank a bunch of potions. But I'd have to rewatch that on the stream. But it looks like Roasted and Blade continuing to beat each other up in that top lane, doing a nice little high-five dance back and forth. There is actually a flash by Roasted. He believes he can get this kill onto Blade McWill, uses the ultimate and Ignite, and then with that ward is able to jump to it, and with that AoE, I believe it is his E, Ground Pound is able to finish off that kill on Trundle, getting him a second kill in that top lane. Starting that snowball effect, he is still a little bit down on farm. He's actually just now beaten Trundle's farm out. However, with those kills, will give him a significant edge in that top lane. So it's 2 kills to 3 kills in this match. Does look like Purple Team is starting to take the edge on this first match of 3. Pond Mills is actually the team name, doing an excellent job. Thresh throwing out that lantern, going to be able to grab some of those souls up in that bottom lane. Yasuo taking advantage of this Lysandra, who had to back in that mid lane, going ahead and doing a chunk of damage onto that tower. She has started off her Zanya's, grabbing herself a Seeker's Arm Guard to have that armor as well as ability power versus that Yasuo, which is an excellent item versus an ADC in the mid lane, as well as giving yourself power or ability power against him, so you can do damage. Graves trying to do a damage he can to the minions, but actually I think his Q is a little bit short range there and didn't hit any of those minions, so hopefully he'll be back up by the time minions get to the tower so you can actually get all of that farm, because that is a lot of juicy farm that's going to be going by. Thresh actually picking up a lot of it, not wanting it to go to waste just to the tower. Graves in a tight situation here. He is down almost 30 farm against this Caitlyn, as well as a kill, or 2 actually. Caitlyn has 2 kills. There goes another hook onto Pachinator, and that is another death in that bottom lane. Thresh giving out a second kill accidentally. Gotta watch out for those Blitzcrank hooks when he comes out of nowhere. Roasted does have the Trundle ultimate onto him, so he will be losing life, and Blade McWill will be healing off of it, but it's only going to last so long. It actually is about to end there. Using that Pillar of Health to try to slow it down. Roasted now trying to do his best to back off, and that has put the slow down to Blade McWill. Throwing out a Q that actually doesn't land. I don't know if he even wanted to follow up on that. Hamzy maybe now in a tight situation. She uses her ultimate onto Escafe, but he does have the wind wall up. However, I don't think that's going to matter. The Ignite is down onto Escafe. He does throw his ultimate back and actually grabs the kill. However, the minions is able to finish him off, and so that is a kill for kill in that mid lane. Doing a nice job of beating each other up back and forth. Yasuo doing an amazing job of, while backing off, throwing out that Tornado and ultimate to be able to finish off Lysandra before Lysandra had a chance to throw one more auto attack. Was all she needed to actually finish off Yasuo, but an excellent job of getting back at each other. There it does look like Thresh has already purchased the start of that sight ward, which will allow him to place a lot of wards down and be able to keep an eye out for the Blitzcrank if he comes into that bottom lane. But they've already given Caitlyn a pretty strong edge in that bottom lane, so I don't know how well it's going to do them in the long run. Graves hasn't backed in a while, only having Dorans and Boots, having to use up a lot of his money on potions to be able to stay alive and sustain against the poke that Caitlyn has. She does have now a Vamp Scepter and BF Sword, having backed after that last assist, and so will be able to do a lot of damage, but that means Graves is going to be sitting on a good chunk of gold in that bottom lane, actually about 1,400 gold, probably going to wait until he has a BF Sword amount of gold before backing off. Lee Sin having to use his ultimate to be able to escape that Trundle, just diving in, doing a lot of damage with those bites, in the bottom lane. It does appear that Blackbeard is now trying to push onto blue team, but Blitzcrank is there. If purple team doesn't back off, they're going to be a lot of trouble when Blitzcrank lands another hook. It does look like Blackbeard has decided to back off there. Thresh deciding to possibly follow. However, he has to be careful because he gets caught out. There he goes. He gets caught by a Caitlyn's trap, who does actually, she flashes in trying to kill Pachinary. He does throughout the death sentence and flays. Doesn't get her into the tower. However, that Sona ultimate is going to keep Thresh from being able to CC Caitlyn anymore. Caitlyn picking up another kill, now starting off her killing spree. Akradam doing an excellent job of following up on what could have been a really terrible fight. Looks like Best Void Fizz is now coming in, trying to do what he can. However, he's a little bit in trouble as Udyr shows up. Going to have a lot of damage. The exhaust is down, and Best Void Minion's actually getting the kill on that. And now with that ultimate by Blitzcrank, going to be able to keep Graves from doing anything with the silence. It's going to be a little bit problematic. And Caitlyn picking up another kill, now at 5-0 in that bottom lane. My name is Scott, being an incredible ADC for the blue team, just continuing to show his skill at that diamond level. It does look like they are going to start off this dragon down here for blue team. Now 7-4, about 3k gold in the lead here. But blue team has decided they're probably going to back off from that as they do not have the health to be able to deal with that. They escape taking a lot of damage in the mid lane. The ult and ignite from Lissandra just too much. He is unable to deal with it or be able to get away from it. As Lissandra then goes ahead and uses her E to back off, beating back and forth up here. Bruiser on the top lane. The ultimate is down on roasted by Trundle, who's going to take a lot of damage from the tower if he decides to follow. But the ult there, however, by roasted will do a lot of damage to Bulimic Whale. They're now both sitting with very little health. I think there is a ward, though, by Bulimic Whale that's going to see Udyr if he's not paying attention. Does appear he's not paying attention, though, and that allows Best Void Fizz to come in with that bear stance and throw down the stun. Goes ahead and puts down a ward in that. He does use the flash to try to escape. Bulimic Whale now going underneath this tower. Best Void Fizz having to follow. He is going to be able to tank this tower a little bit. However, he's got to back off with that turtle before the tower does too much damage to him, but I think both of them are going to live. Blitzcrank now actually here for the follow-up. That knock-up onto Best Void Fizz. Goes ahead and throws the silence and the Q, pulling Best Void Fizz back to himself, giving himself yet another kill. He does have his Feral Filler started. He already is 202, so that means he's going to be doing a lot of damage in that jungle, doing a lot of damage. Yasuo get dunked, and I think he was talking about Lissandra in the mid lane. Getting maybe dunked himself, or just talking about that Blitzcrank. Yasuo getting snared in that mid lane. Hamzy just continuing to harass back and forth, both about half health, but as soon as Lissandra's ultimate comes up, that might be another death for Yasuo. It does throw out the tornado, but it does not hit Hamzy, who with her Q back and forth, doing what she can to keep up. She does have the Chalice started, which will give her the mana that she needs to continue to farm in this mid lane. Yasuo not having any mana problems because, as everyone knows, he is air-based. Kind of like Avatar the Airbender. Blitzcrank now in that jungle, continuing to farm up with that red buff. Makesaf doing an excellent job of keeping his farm up. Both junglers now at that 50 farm. However, Udyr has just finished the second farm. But that is first tower down for blue team. My name is Scott, having done so much damage in that bottom lane. There's actually max range ultimate by Akradam, doing an excellent job of stopping Graves in his tracks. And Caitlyn following up with a nice Q. And then that ultimate onto Thresh, being able to kill himself as well. Best Void Fizz not able to deal with that with the health. Looks like Hamzy will be trying to come in here. A lot of damage going down. Akradam actually going ahead and using her ultimate on the Sona. Flying auto attack, finishing off Sona. Then now they're going to be in trouble as the damage dealer Caitlyn and Blitzcrank are here, as well as Yasuo now is followed up on that Lissandra coming bottom lane, and has come as well to try to push into this tower. They might actually have to back off from this. Blue is up, however, for purple team, which is going to be really bad as blue team takes purple team's blue buff. The ult by Trundle back onto Yasuo, who is now continuing to heal up from that. Trundle now trying to get some damage down onto this, bouncing around Lee Sin, who does have to flash over the wall, only sitting at about 300 health. Bulimic Whale actually about half health. The Q from Roasted missing and not being able to land as well. He does have full energy, but that doesn't matter when you have no health. Nakesaf doing an excellent job with that. Caitlyn taking up Dragon. That is first Dragon for blue team, who have turned this game around in the face of purple team having a beginning edge. Now they are 10-7. Purple team doing an excellent job of their blue team doing an excellent job of turning the game around in their favor. Best Void Fizz coming back again top lane against Bulimic Whale, but in the bottom lane, Yasuo getting off an excellent ult onto Graves and Thresh. I don't think he's actually going to be able to kill the Graves, even though there's low health. That ignite is not going to be able to finish him up, but now Pachinator is in a bit of trouble. Graves' ultimate not being able to actually do too much damage to that Yasuo. Even though he is really low health, I don't think anyone's going to be there to follow up. Yasuo now actually dashing through minions, hoping to be able to grab a kill onto the Graves, but Graves throwing out that Q just before Yasuo puts down, or just after Yasuo puts down the wind wall, and so he is then able to do any damage. Mixaf coming top to try to help out what he can, but he's not going to be able to grab either person and do much damage to them. Both purple team members backing off from that. Lissandra, however, doing an excellent job of pushing in the mid lane. Blue team now is pinging in onto her. Caitlyn does a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, Hamzy just going all in onto the Caitlyn, doing a lot of damage, but Caitlyn actually doing an amazing job of 90 caliber netting out of that situation. But now Hamzy's going to be in trouble. Blitzcrank finds her, which he will in just a moment. Makeshaft, there we go. The snare goes down onto Makeshaft, but I don't know if he's going to be enough. He pulls into Hamzy, and actually Sona with the power cord gets Lissandra coming in at the last second, getting that kill secure for herself, grabbing herself a first kill with those 8 assists. Lissandra trying to do her best to have destroyed Caitlyn in one burst, but Caitlyn being really fed 7-0, it's going to be a little difficult to make that happen. Roasted back in the top lane, continuing to just beat down onto that Trundle, just going back and forth. Now 3-0 in Lee Sin's favor. However, he is still losing a little bit in farm against this Trundle, who is just continuing to get tankier and tankier. Lee Sin has finished his Tiamat in that top lane as well as a Vamp Scepter, so now he's going to be able to do a good bit of damage. That ultimate knocking Bulimic Whale away. However, the damage is back and forth between the two, but Lee Sin does get a little bit of the edge, even with that ultimate on himself, healing up, but now he knows that Yasuo is coming up. He does shield to the ward, which might be his death as Escape comes in at last second, trying to get that damage down. The auto attack does miss. He might have to dash through some minions. Rosa trying to back off from the situation. He does have a shield. No! The flash from Escape being there, and the flash auto attack to be able to kill that Lee Sin in the top lane. But now he might be in trouble as Udyr is there. Actually, I don't think Udyr even saw this. Escape was up there, or is just deciding to ignore him as now Escape is trying to chase in on him. However, in the mid lane, Hamzy is just continuing to farm up these towers, doing a lot of damage to them. There we go, Escape in that top lane now trying to chase down Best Void Fizz, who is on that Udyr, is going to be able to bear stance his way out of a lot of situations. In the bottom lane, however, minions continue to push forward as my name is Scott, having one of the longest ranges in the game as Caitlyn. Not the longest, but one of the longer ones. Going to just continue to deal a lot of damage to these towers. She has finished her Bloodthirster as well as that beginnings of a Phantom Dancer, and so she's going to be doing a lot of damage and very quickly. Graves picking up for himself a BF sword finally and trying to start on his Vamp Scepter. However, being almost 60 farm down against this Caitlyn is going to take a little bit longer to be able to get even just the basics of a Bloodthirster. Trying to do his best to farm in that bottom lane. Pachinator there as well, trying to be a good support and helping out, knock some of the minions' initial health down. There's Lee Sin in that top lane. He has finished his Hydra, so he's going to be doing a lot of damage to all the minions when he jumps in on them. However, he hasn't used it yet in the situation where they're underneath the tower. Hydra has such a short cooldown. I'm kind of impressed that he didn't go ahead and use it on those minions, but maybe he's saving it in case when he has to go in on that Trundle in the top lane. Yeah, Rosa has not used the Hydra yet. However, he's still doing a lot of damage to Bulimic Whale. It doesn't matter. Following up on his Q to do a good bit of damage, Bulimic Whale may be considering throwing out the ultimate, which is available, but knowing that the last couple of times he is currently down 4 kills in that top lane, which is not very good against Lee Sin, who has 4 kills under his belt. Bulimic Whale continuing to try to farm up, doing an amazing job, still keeping even with this Lee Sin on farm, even though he is down in kills. This is a testament to your farming skills on the Trundle. There you go, Best Void Fizz now jumping in onto Bulimic Whale. He has used the flash to try to get out of that situation, but Best Void Fizz is there. It does look like Roasted is tanking the tower, but as Lee Sin with those shields, he may be able to tank the tower for a lot longer than he cares, than he needs to. Mixoft is here though. This is going to be a lot of trouble. The silence is there. Going to be able to stop him from doing anything to jump over the wall. Q following up and going to be able to do that damage and kill Lee Sin in that top lane, being able to stop that damage from going down. Pachinator now trying to help out Hamzy in the mid lane, stop against this assault as my name is Scott. Not having too luck with that bottom tower, decided to come mid lane as this mid lane tower is pretty low health. Hamzy does have a good bit of damage, 4 and 2. Has finished off her Athena's Holy Grail, which will give her a good bit of cooldowns as well as a little bit of damage. We'll be probably saving up for the beginnings of that needlessly large rod. That death sentence almost landing on my name is Scott, but actually missing by a little bit, which would have probably spelled death for that Caitlyn if it had landed. Escape now in the top lane, just doing a lot of damage to this tower. Best Void Fizz deciding, hey, maybe it's best to back off from this fight, going into bear mode and actually doing a nice job of juking Yasuo out and missing the tornado as well. Lee Sin now following up, Udyr deciding to turn it around, kind of trying to bait Yasuo back. The Ignite is down onto Escape. The ultimate is out from Yasuo, however, going down onto Best Fizz, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Lee Sin jumps in, throwing out that nice kick, knocking Yasuo out of his ultimate, is knocking him away as soon as his ultimate finishes, allowing them to grab that kill. While my name is Scott in that bottom lane is going to be backing off with now 179 farm. Nixaft in the mid lane trying to stop this assault on the tower. However, that Q did miss, and so he's not going to be able to do too much. But that stopping the farm, however, is going to be doing a pretty good job keeping that mid lane. Hamzy does not have the tank to be able to deal with the tower damage, and so she's going to have to back off from that, as well as doing a rightful job of suspecting that the other members of the team would be coming up. Caitlyn was there. Dragon is up for both teams. Neither team have a ward down there. The purple team kind of has some wards nearby. Lisa doing a nice job of picking up a second tower for purple team in that top lane. Blue has warded now. Caitlyn putting down her trinket in that bush. Going to be able to have some vision on Dragon, though it is not directly on Dragon. So the purple team is able to sneak around that ward. However, I don't believe the purple team knows that ward is there. They don't have any pinks or anything. Yasuo may be able to find, there we go, Udyr. There is pinks, pings by both team going down on this Dragon. Udyr having to back off a little bit, not wanting to get in a situation. The slow is down on him, however. 3 members of blue team now diving in. Yasuo doing a lot of damage to him. Best Way Fizz having to back off in turtle mode, trying to escape. However, the Caitlyn ult is there, and it is actually going to hit Graves, allowing Yasuo to throw out his ultimate, grabbing 1 kill on Graves with his ultimate, even though he was ulting Udyr. Now trying to chase in on Udyr. Roasted Heroes, however, doing a lot of damage onto Caitlyn, using that ultimate to finish off the kill, flashing in to try to slow down Aqua Jam. Is going to have it for the kill. Yasuo chasing Udyr down almost all the way back to the tower, grabbing a kill. I think Udyr might have actually sacrificed himself under the tower, but now purple team is on this Dragon. Escape trying to see if he can do something to stop it. Makes up here as well. The ultimate by Thresh being able to slow down a lot of members of blue team, pulling in actually Yasuo through the Thresh ult, which will also doing a death sentence on him, which kept him what is the word? Suppressed. Keeping a lot of that damage from happening. However, Blitzcrank is here now, going to be able to do a lot of damage to this Thresh. Makesaf doing excellent damage of grabbing with those Qs, and now, but he's going to have to try to escape. He has thrown on the silence onto Hazme, but it is not enough, as purple team is able to follow up with that damage and be able to grab a kill for themselves as well, which that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 loss by purple team, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 loss by blue team. So purple team doing an excellent job of fighting at that Dragon. Neither team actually have Dragon, both team have wards, so when an enemy does go for that Dragon, they will be able to see it. 18 kills to 15 kills in the favor of Chicks Dig Elo at the moment, as they are about 5k gold in the lead and continue to stretch it by a little bit by little bit. Caitlyn did die, losing a lot of her Bloodthirster stacks as well as being shut down, and if Lee Sin can keep that up, purple team has a very strong chance of coming back into this game. However, Trundle in that top lane is going to continue to farming up. He was actually decided to go ahead and farm the jungle as well, with that top tower going down. He's going to be able to then farm in the jungle and get his farm continuing to maximize it. They have found Yasuo here. Lee Sin grabbing that Q and going to be able to do a bit of damage. The slow goes down onto Escapa, who goes ahead and throws out the ult onto Graves after tornadoing him into the air, trying to burst him down before dying, but it is not going to be fast enough. And now Pachoneer is in a good bit of trouble, as my name is Scott with that red buff has found him. She goes ahead and 90 caliber nets her way herself away, but that ultimate is actually going to land onto Udyr. Doesn't matter though, the Sona ultimate is there. Lissandra leaping in and ulting herself with a lot of damage. Lee Sin sniping with that Q though, being able to kill that Caitlyn from a distance, but Blackbeard not be able to get himself over the wall. Now he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Rosa trying to escape actually dashes to Udyr, who did an amazing job of standing right next to that wall there, allowing Lee Sin to escape, being a good buddy in that buddy system. He now is in bear mode right next to Lee Sin. If anything should happen, there comes oh my gosh, the Blitzcrank trying to do what damage he can with that ultimate, is actually able to grab the kill on Lee Sin as well as just tank out the Udyr, but the Udyr underneath that tower is able to use the tower's assistance to kill the Blitzcrank. Sona not able there to help keep that Blitzcrank from dying. Blitzcrank using his ultimate actually to grab Lee Sin in the middle of backing. So an excellent job by this Blitzcrank keeping it real. Petunia is going to be able to find Acrodam in the jungle here now. A lot of auto attacks going down. About half health on that Sona. The Death Sentence is actually able to grab her as well. I don't know why he keeps flaying his enemies away from him. We should be able to pull it back. But he might be in trouble if he keeps moving on, as Yasuo is there. Yasuo might be able to follow up and do a lot of damage to the Thresh, causing Thresh to back off. No, actually, both teams decided it is best to back off from this situation. Trade 10 minutes with the lane for 20 minutes. No focus me. Next game when I have the right dude. I don't even know what they're talking about at the moment. But my name is Scott, finding Patchinator once again in the jungle right here by Dragon. And now Blackbeard is in a ton of trouble, as there is just way too many people there. I don't know why he dived across the wall in a bad situation. I guess he was hoping to find Caitlyn out. However, he isn't able to trade with Caitlyn, as Caitlyn has a Last Whisperer and a finished Phantom Dancer, as Graves has only finished a Bloodthirster in the beginnings of a Phantom Dancer. But now Hamzy with that silence is going to be a little bit of trouble. Mixel trying to do a nice grab over the wall. However, Lysandra did an excellent job of evading that with her E. Udyr backing off from that Yasuo now. Not really wanting to fight too much without one of his buddies there with him. Does get knocked in the air. I don't know if Yasuo actually even saw that. Hamzy leaping in over the wall to actually snare the Blitzcrank, going ahead and using the ultimate on it with that Lee Sin ultimate as well. However, Breakstaff might be able to escape from this with very little help if this Lee Sin does not actually throw down a Q to connect. Escape now trying to do his best to sit here in the situation. Blitzcrank actually did escape. I'll have to go back later and watch that, as in that bottom lane, Yasuo just diving in a little bit too hard and getting killed by the enemy team. I think he did actually finish off the Thresh throw with that ultimate that he used onto Graves. That AoE damage being enough to finish off Thresh in that situation. My name is Scott. Now just continue to push down a third tower onto this inhibitor tower in that bottom lane. Blue doing an excellent job of keeping the lead now that they've taken it. Udyr trying to jump in and do a lot of damage. That Sona using her ultimate onto the Udyr, keeping Udyr from doing the stun. But Hamzy is there with that snare, going to be doing some serious damage. However, now taking damage back from My Name is Scott with those auto attacks. The stuns are trying to come out from Best Avoid Fizz, but that exhaust, they're not going to be able to have a whole lot of health to be able to go in on this. Acrodam now taking chunks of damage from Graves as he throws in that flash Q there, going to be able to get the last little bits of hits to be able to kill that Sona in that situation. My Name is Scott now with about half health now, trying to back out. Blitzcrank is there with that flash grab, but the Q is a little bit low there, not able to grab that hook, and my mouse just totally lost vision on what was happening there because I accidentally bumped it a little too high on the screen. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. Scafe going in onto Roasted down here. I think actually Roasted initiated the team fight using his flash over the wall. However, the Yasuo ultimate is down onto Lee Sin, who throws down the ultimate himself. Doing the ignite is down onto his Scaf. Blackbeard there following up, actually grabbing that kill. However, with that ignite, Yasuo was able to finish off Lee Sin. But now Patchinator is in a lot of trouble as Makesaf with that ADC Blitzcrank tanky, I don't even know what build, coming in, throwing out that grab onto Thresh. Oh my gosh, Thresh was almost 0 health as Caitlyn lands an amazing Q, Piltover Peacemaker onto everybody. Now the auto attacks are really strong onto Blackbeard, finishing off one last auto attack before he walks into the bush. Lysandra actually ulting, I think, Caitlyn in that situation. However, with that Zanyas, it's kind of just giving a free kill as waiting for the enemy team to be able to grab that kill for herself, having no teammates available to be able to follow in on that. Make sure that your team is there when going into that situation. Blue team doing an amazing job of making sure this game is continuing in their favor, always hanging out with their teammates. Purple needs to be able to throw down a couple more wards to be able to see that. Next person to focus me gets a lane for 2 minutes. I don't know what their keep joke about lane is. If anyone is watching or playing and knows what this lane joke is, fill me in on it, because I'd love to know. Best Void Fist now jumping down to Blame McWhale, grabbing that Udyr stun there, trying to do what damage he can. Bear Stance is going to be able to keep him in place for Lee Sin Roasted to be able to grab that kill in the top lane, continuing to try to get Lee Sin fed 10 and 5. However, Lee Sin continues to have to keep going top to be able to keep that lane pushing, which means that he's not there for a lot of those other fights. Trundle actually continuing to farm above Lee Sin, still about 2 farm above. The Lee Sin will probably be able to catch that up in just a moment in that top lane. Yeah, he gets one minion over before having to back off, deciding that he's pushed the lane far enough. Purple team looks like they're kind of starting to collect around mid lane, maybe trying to push in towards that tower. There is an open inhibitor for purple team in that bottom lane. Udi are trying to keep that farm. However, purple team is trying to make this something possible for themselves in that mid lane, pushing in possibly for this tower in the mid lane or rotating towards the bottom. They've not taken any towers in the bottom lane, and they should be able to get a good tower there. I guess it's because Caitlyn keeps doing an amazing job of keeping those minions pushing, so they have to push all the way from their base all the way back down to be able to get even that first tower on blue team's side. Lee Sin doing a pretty good job in that top lane, continuing to keep it pushed. They have gotten to that second tower, and I think put a little bit of damage down onto it, but not a whole lot. Purple team backing off right by a blue buff there. I guess they're going to go grab that farm there. They did give blue buff to Blackbeard, though that might have been an accident. I think they were trying to give it to Lissandra, and he may have queued a little bit too late and grabbed that kill for himself. This ores, I don't know what ore is, but okay. Purple team now going in onto blue team. The Sona ultimate is down onto Best Void Fizz. The ultimate from Lee Sin knocking a scoff away. The ultimate from Thresh is out as well, trying to keep a lot of the teammates safe and alive. Lissandra going ahead and flashing out of that situation, trying to back off from that, as Makesaf now is going to be able to back off from the situation. Maybe being able to throw out a Q here to try to keep himself or pull one of Purple Team's low health members away. All of Purple Team did survive, so that was a kill onto Yasuo. Trundle continuing to farm up in that top lane. But it looks like blue team will decide to back off a little bit as Lissandra, after healing up, pushes into that top lane to keep blue team from coming in onto that tower. Looks like Lissandra may be defending it on her own against 3 members of blue team. That Caitlyn and Trundle will be doing a lot of damage. She goes ahead and puts the snare down onto the enemy team, trying to keep them in place. That tower doing chunks of damage onto Acrodam, who I think was accidentally tanking it. They probably wanted the bulimic whale, the tanky Trundle, to be able to tank that tower. Sona going ahead, throwing out those heals and actually healing members of the team all the way back up. Caitlyn not even caring about the damage, just going in and going ahead and doing a lot of damage onto that tower. Lee Sin Q is there onto bulimic whale, but I don't think he's going to be able to go in onto this as he is sitting at half health. A lot of purple team members not there for the fight, and the tower does go down. Now purple team's going to be in a tight spot as they do have to back out. Thresh actually does land a death sentence, but it's onto a minion as Hamzy does not have Zani's available, having to flash out of, or actually I think he threw a long-range Eves, able to get out of that situation, but Lee Sin caught out, is going to go down. My name is Scott now, does have the death sentence, but Thresh is not going to follow that up. Now purple team is down a member, as blue team with mostly full health is going to be able to try to get this tower. Blitzcrank is sitting at about a quarter health, but with those Qs over the wall, might be able to do a whole lot. Thresh deciding not to go in on that. I think Lissandra as well decided not to go in on that, even though they were throwing a bunch of skills over the wall, deciding maybe it's best to not dive into a situation. Lissandra's already once or twice accidentally gotten herself into a 1v5 situation without the team there to follow up, taking a lot of damage from Escape, who put a nice wind wall down to avoid a lot of the damage from Lissandra in that mid lane. Looks like blue team will be backing and trying to get this dragon now. Caitlyn doing enough damage that she could probably even solo it herself, but friendly neighbor Sona is there to help keep you healthy and continue to do damage against that dragon in that bottom lane. Sona doing an amazing job, 4 and 4 with 11 assists. Infinity Edge is coming out for Caitlyn and Yasuo, who's going to have a lot of crit strikes now, as well as he got Hydra and that static Shiv. Looks like Graves has now finally finished both the Bloodthirster and Static Shiv for himself. That Frozen Heart by Udyr coming out. Going to be doing a good bit to try to keep himself as healthy as possible. Paginator going ahead and throwing a Q in that bush just to see if somebody's in there by chance. But there was nobody in there. They did have a ward in there, so maybe... Nah, I'm not exactly sure why he threw it then, if they had a ward in there. But as it stands, it... answering some people in the chat, so that's why I'm taking a little bit. But the death sentence does come out onto Makesap, but he's not going to be able to go in on that. Afraid to get into that 1v5 situation as blue team continues to push down the mid lane. Purple team having to defend from this. Baron is up, and neither team have gone for it yet. A lot of wards down there, though, so they should be able to see if an enemy team does go onto it. Purple team does have a sweeping lens, so they should be able to clear a ward. However, Purple team or blue team does not have any sweeping lenses, and so they aren't going to be able to see that. There's the death sentence onto My Name is Scott, the ADC, which is going to do a lot of damage. However, with the purple team follow up, that is going to be a lot of pain as Zona ultimate comes out and stuns a lot of them, but purple is there with the tankiness. Caitlyn has the ignite. Best Void Fizz throwing out that stun to be able to actually finish her off as well. Now Trundle is chasing down onto Blackbeard, who's in a bit of a situation. Keep your ADC alive as Best Void Fizz tries to do his best to keep him alive. They're the only two members of purple team still alive. The stun coming out onto Bulimic Whale once again. Gray's doing his best to slow him, however he flashed over the wall, keeping himself alive. That is a 3-4-3 between both teams. 32 kills to 26 kills by blue team. Very strong in the lead. 63,000 gold to 51,000 gold on purple team. But purple team is not going to be able to get this dragon as blue team already got it once again. A couple of taunts going out. Do that once again. It worked. Coming out between the two teams. Sorry, continuing to chat back to the people in the chat, which means that I don't talk and chat at the same time because I'm pretty bad, but... Ooh, I can't spell diamonds. There we go. I apologize for that break in the commentary, but purple team now trying to collect themselves after that last team fight and possibly pushing down in the mid lane once again to try to get to this tower. However, they've kind of been on the back foot this entire game. A lot of blue team's minions now pushing into that bottom lane. They do still have that open inhibitor. Blue team has, excuse me, not pushed in onto it yet. Maybe trying to wait for an opportune moment after they get a couple of kills or grab themselves a second tower and rotate onto that inhibitor down there when the opportunity seeks itself. Blue team does think they have that fighting power, though, as they're taunting their way down the mid lane. My Name is Scott doing an excellent job of keeping those taunts up. She does have a Banshee spell, and that's going to keep her alive a little bit against this Lysandra, who's now 7 and 5, having finished off a needlessly large rod as well as that Void Staff to have that magic resist ignored. Pachinero grabbed out, having to use a flash to escape from Makeshaft that Q. So it'll be interesting to see which team starts this fight as the minions are now pushing down onto this tower. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very big 5v5. Looks like Best Void Fizz did get grabbed by a snare, one of Caitlyn's traps, and so he's not going to be able to... There's the grab onto Hamzy with the silence by Blitzcrank, going to be before she can actually Zhonya's or ult herself, which is going to be huge for blue team. Now that they have the biggest AP power on the enemy team, the biggest reason that Caitlyn might be able to not do anything, blue team should be able to grab this tower. Looks like Blitzcrank will push in onto this bottom inhibitor now, while purple team is still trying to defend this mid lane. The super damage that is Caitlyn going to be able to come in and do a lot of damage to this tower. This Void Fizz trying to keep her off of the tower. She's doing an excellent job with those 90 caliber nets to avoid that. The ultimate, however, is on to Best Void Fizz, who has very low health. Blitzcrank grabbing that tower in the bottom lane, now coming mid, pulls out a nice hook onto Blackbeard. However, he is able to dash his way out of that Passioneer, throwing down the ultimate. Sure try to be able to escape from that, but with the shield, it's not going to be enough, as A-Escape does take that kill for himself. Blue team grabbing that middle tower and middle inhibitor and now pushing in. Maybe trying to go for the win right now or backing up before going for Baron. It does look like blue team is kind of a little bit split here as Caitlyn and Blitzcrank go towards the Baron, but the slow is down to Best Void Fizz as blue team continues to try to push in onto these towers, but they might be a little bit stuck around too late. As Best Void Fizz now is coming in doing a lot of damage and tankiness. The Sona ult is out on purple team, holding them in place for that Yasuo ultimate, but it's not going to be enough as Lysandra ults as well, clearing the enemy team from this. It does look like Caitlyn and Blitzcrank are going to duo this Baron, though, grab themselves that. And so now purple team does have a little bit of an advantage with those 4 members teams up, but with 2 inhibitors down, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot pushing in onto the enemy team. And now Caitlyn and Blitzcrank, 2 of the most fed team members on blue team, are going to have that Baron and be able to do a lot of damage, as well as that extra gold is going to push blue even further into the lead. It does appear that Trundle has finished his Blade of the Ruined King, so he's going to be doing chunks of damage to the enemy team, as well as Blade of the Ruined King being picked up by Yasuo. A lot of final items coming out as we are now reaching the 40-minute mark in this game between these two teams. Chickstig ELO being very strong against Pond Mills at the moment. Pond Mills, 8 towers to 4 towers, and a lot of giggling going on in the background as I think my fiance may be dying of the giggles, which could be terrible in this current situation. There you go, messaging my chat people once again. Makesaf now with that Baron, kind of waiting around to see if anybody on purple team would be going for this dragon. However, it does not appear that purple is able to go in on this dragon at the time, as blue team now kind of makes their way towards the dragon very strongly in the lead. Might be able to push here for a win. I'm not sure if they're going to try to finish off clearing all these towers or just go ahead and push down where these inhibitors are missing with those cannon minions, or not minions, but extra minions for themselves. Scott set us up with Patch. Oh, Scott set us up with Patch. Thresh, the 210, people complaining about having him on the team, but everyone has a bad game, so don't complain too much. The Sona ultimate going out onto Hamzy, which will be a little bit of trouble. The shield from Thresh trying to keep him alive, but the tornado actually goes out onto Thresh. I don't think that that's who Yasuo wanted. The Death Sentence doing a nice job of hooking and keeping Yasuo from going anywhere as the team collapses in. Rosa now doing a chunk of damage to Bulimic Will, who fails his flash over the wall. The Ignite is onto him. That is going to be a kill for Roasted. However, in the meantime, my name is Scott, just pushing in onto the enemy tower. Hamzy is here, going to try to do something to stop this push, but they have gotten the tower, and the inhibitor will be gone soon if no one backs soon enough to stop it. Best Void Fizz and Roasted trying to continue to push down, make something happen. However, purple team is now straight, just trying to keep these minions off of the tower as their buddies in the mid lane continue to push. They actually gave up that inhibitor just to keep the minions off of these towers. However, I think that tower, that mid lane tower, sorry, the Nexus tower may be going down anyway. Roasted and Best Boy Fizz having to back off from this tower in the mid lane as Makesaf actually probably get a kill. There we go with that tower help as well. Now Acrodam coming in, using that nice slow onto Roasted, who might not be able to get away from this. He's already leapt to a war, and with that knockup by Makesaf, is going to have to deal with a lot of damage. He does use his ultimate to knock Makesaf away, but Makesaf flashes in as well. Now he's going to have to Q to the right, who I actually think the right actually killed him as he flew towards it, giving that kill to Blitzcrank, getting essentially nothing done for purple team as a last-ditch effort to try to make something happen. Kills are slightly evening up between the two teams, 36 to 31. However, blue team is 17,000 gold in the lead, way above the purple team, and going to be doing a nice job of keeping that in the lead. Hamzy doing an excellent job of both stunning and then juking Blitzcrank out, and actually causing him to use his ultimate just before jumping over the wall to escape that Blitzcrank. But now Blitzcrank is going to be coming in very strong onto this inhibitor in that bottom lane, as well as my name is Scott pushing in onto that mid lane tower. I don't think purple team has much that they're going to be able to do against these two teams. A little bit damage going out onto Makesaf from that Lissandra Q or E, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hold him off for too long. Best Void Fizz here now coming in with that bear stance, going to see if there's anybody that he can get a stun onto. Blitzcrank landing a nice Q onto Blackbeard, but it is nothing the purple team is going to be able to do. Is going to be able to stop this assault now. Blue team doing an amazing job with that Sona ultimate, catching several of purple team's members out, and that is going to keep them held long enough for Yasuo and the rest of the team to do enough damage. Roasted actually being pulled long distance across the Nexus by Makesaf, now trying to just escape the all of the damage from the enemy team. He does have the Sunfire Cape, and that knockup by Bulimic Will will keep him pinned into his own base, sealing his fate, as Best Void Fizz actually goes ahead and pulls Yasuo onto the tower with that bait, actually killing him at the last second with that tower, getting a kill as my name is Scott finishes off the Nexus and finishes the game. Amazing, amazing play. 41 kills, 232 kills between both people. Carl, that is quite alright. Amazing, amazing game coming out there. First game goes to Chickstig Elo. An excellent job However, the teams, as already stated a couple different times, are a little bit uneven. My name is Scott, being Diamond is a bit of above the enemy teams, and so just doing an amazing job of carrying the team. However, now that we are into official gaming and not practice mode, these games will be going onto YouTube. However, I'm going to throw out some MVPs here because we are doing these 3 official games with that giggling in the background by my lovely fiance and friends that are currently over. MVP going out to Blitzcrank. He actually evened up. Well, no, first of all, I'm going to start with the losing team, purple team. MVP is there for Udyr with those 13 assists, doing an excellent job of trying to keep the team. Well, actually, I'm going to change that last second. I apologize, Best Void Fizz. I'm going to give it to Lysandra, who had kills, but also was jumping in and doing a lot of damage. A couple different times got caught out in bad situations, but overall was doing some excellent plays and trying to keep her team there and continuing to go. Lee Sin did an amazing job of grabbing kills, but however, he kept being distracted by that top lane, trying to keep it pushed. Instead, should have sent Graves up there to farm, while he then helped his team out in the other lanes. Udyr, however, did an amazing job being a very strong team player and was there for a lot of that Lee Sin escape, as well as jumping into situations, trying to do his best to tank up soak the enemy damage. For blue team, I know we're trying to get into a second game here, so I'm going to run through this really fast. But for blue team, amazing job by Blitzcrank, making a lot of these plays possible. Wasn't afraid to try some flash Qs, even if he failed that. Grabbing that Feral Flare. I've not seen a Blitzcrank in the jungle before, but you know what? Maybe I'll start taking that in that low silver.